Hello.
live?
Hello, I am Galasrinie. I'm going to be showing off the Nioh speedrun. I'm going to be explaining things along the course of the run and getting to show it off, so we'll get straight into it. So the time will start when I press continue on this screen. Just has to load up a little bit.
Give me 1 second, we're not ready on timer yet.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Just one tiny thing that we missed during the transition.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Sorry about that. I missed something in the setup guide, which changed everyone, but we should be good to go now. Sorry about that.
Okay. Okay, so timer will start in 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, this is Nioh. Nioh is an action role-playing game by Team Ninja. At the start of the game, you are in England in the Tower of London, and our first objective is to break out of prison. The main character that you play as is William, who is this character that we are taking control of right now, who we're going to play as for the whole duration of the speedrun. So yeah, while we're going through this prison, I'll get to explain a few things that we see on the screen here. On the right-hand side of the screen, there are 2 dark boxes. Those boxes are going to be for our weapons. Our melee weapons are on the bottom box, and our ranged weapons will be in the top box, which we'll be getting a bit later. On the left-hand side of the screen, on the bottom left, there are 4 more dark boxes, and those are going to be for our consumable items, as well as magic and ninjutsu, which we'll be getting a bit later. At the top left, there is a blue bar as well as a green bar. The blue bar is our health bar or HP bar, and the green bar is called our ki bar, which is similar to stamina but acts a tiny bit differently in Nioh. So right now we're just running through this prison segment. To the chest to the side here, there is a weapon inside that we want for the first boss that we're going to be versing, which is a battle axe. We're going to be using that for the first fight that we're going to be encountering. Which works a bit better than the sword that we had gotten before to kill the guard of our jail cell. So the first boss of the game here in England is Derek the Executioner, who is based off a real-life person whose name was Thomas Derrick, who executed a lot of people in England. For his fight, we used the axe and we hit him. At the start, we hit him in the back. He actually killed me, which was interesting. I thought I was further enough away from him. That's okay. We'll just have to run back. The one thing in Nioh with attacking enemies is that they take more damage when you are behind them. So that's something you're going to see a lot throughout the course of the speedrun. He did a lot of attacks at the start there, which was a little bit unfortunate, but I didn't space out. Well, that's okay. So we'll just have to run back. So if there's any donations to be catched up on, this is a good time to do so. While I just run back.
There's only a limited amount of applicants.
So, just looking for my page right now. Looks like I must have closed it in that panic trying to get the timer going up. I believe Boix has caught us up on donations so far, so if you do want to help out, then get those donations in for Save the Children.
Okay, let's see. Now let's do this again. So the first part of the fight, you have the battle axe on and you hit him 3 times in the back with a strong attack. He goes down, and then there's the next part of his fight. I approach him and hit him twice. Then we want to back off, and we want him to do a charge into a wall. like he did just there. I was a little bit too far back, so I'm actually just going to get him to do that again. There we go. We hit him 3 times, and the objective of his fight isn't to get rid of all of his health, but just to deplete his ki bar or his stamina bar. That goes down, and then you can progress to the next part of the game. It's possible to get a black screen here, so I really hope that doesn't happen. One thing about the PC version of the game is that, yeah, it has some... the port has some issues, but thankfully it didn't black screen there, so that's good. Looks like it's loading okay. Now, William is off to Japan, and before we get to Japan, we have to go through this first menu to pick our first weapons as well as our first Guardian Spirit. We picked the sword, and we picked the Kasarigama. The Kasarigama we're going to use a lot for fights along the course of the speedrun. And we're going to be picking Kato the Wolf, which has like a fire element, which will be very beneficial. It also gives us +1 strength. Now, William is in Japan. We've arrived to Japan. From this corpse, you get the first weapon that you selected in that menu, which is the sword. And for the sword in the speedrun, the majority of the time when we use it is for this low stance dashing. Now on the screen to the right, below our weapons, there is this circle with 4 figures inside that are holding swords. Those are our stances. In Nioh, there are technically 4 stances. There's 3 attack stances and then a stance where your weapon is sheathed. And in each stance, there are different attack moves, and there's also skills that you can get for each stance. So you can perform a lot of variety in attacks and in combat, which we're going to be using later on in the run. They didn't snipe me through that door, so that's good. That's good. From this corpse, there's going to be a bow and arrow. So a longbow and some arrows, which we're going to need later too. This is a shrine. A shrine is like a safety spot where you can rest, level up, and do quite a few things. We're going to be leveling up our magic to 7, and we're going to be acquiring some skills. We're going to be acquiring some Omyo magic skills as well as a ninjutsu skill, and we're going to be equipping them. So we got a shuriken, a water talisman, and a weakness talisman. The weakness talisman you cast on an enemy and it makes them weaker, and a water talisman you put on your weapon as a buff, and it gives a water debuff to enemies that you attack, which is going to be important. That right there is a bit of a skip. Usually you have to go across the buildings and around, but it is possible with low stance dashing to go across the fire without dying. So that's a little way to shortcut across there. So this is the first boss of Japan. His name is Onryoki. Start of his fight, I cast weakness on him, and we're going to be using high stance attacks with the Kasarigama. And I'm going to be trying to get behind him. Like I said before, you do more damage from behind. When you hit him enough, he gets a water debuff. On the top of his health bar, there are 2 of them that you see. To the right side, you see the debuffs. And that way you can take him out very fast.
Just
So
letting you know
on
that you...
the
Oh, sorry. Just letting you know you do appear to have some drop frames. I'm not sure if that's something you can fix, but just letting you know.
Oh, okay.
If you do want to pause, then I can pause the timer for that.
Oh no, it's okay. I can just fix that real quick.
Okay.
Once we get onto this screen.
While we're working on that, I do have a donation for you if you wanna it read.
Okay.
Oh. Now Discord is completely roboty and I can't hear you on Discord.
Hello?
Hello? I think your internet might be having some struggles today. Yeah, I think we'll pause the time at this point. This is we're having some minor problems.
It's not my internet.
Huh.
I'm checking it right now.
We definitely just went a little bit roboty.
I'm checking my speed and it looks like it's okay, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Guess in that case, I'll give the stream a full refresh. We'll see what's going on there.
Oof.
Right. Got the streamer reload. Let's just resume when you're ready again.
Okay, hopefully it's okay. Okay. Okay, we'll just keep going. Okay, hopefully be okay. So this next mission is Deep in the Shadows. Because Nioh is mission-based, you go back to a map and then go into the next mission. Yeah, this one's like a mountainous region. So there aren't that many skips along the course of the Nioh speedrun, but there is one in this mission which I'll get to show off. Which is right here, around this corner. If I put my weapon away and then position myself in such a way to fall down here, you can land on this platform and it saves having to go around and down. It saves about 30 seconds in total. Now we're just going to be running through this area. And we're going to be acquiring some items, a Hyotaka mask as well as a fire amulet. Which are going to be important for some things a bit later. Also this travel amulet to the side here we pick up. Travel amulet allows you to walk back to a shrine that you had previously rested at, so that's going to be important a bit later on. So the boss coming up next is Hino At the start of Enma's fight, she will always fly at you, and if you throw a shuriken, you can actually trip her over. Once she's tripped over, I cast weakness on her, and one of the skills that I had gotten for the kasari is called Reaper, which is this movement with the kasari, and because of the way that this skill moves, you can actually avoid her grab where she bites you at when she comes back up. And you can do a lot of damage using that skill. That skill we're going to use quite a bit throughout the run, so we're going to be seeing that often.
If you still have a moment, I'm not sure if you heard because your internet went robot earlier, but we do have not only one donation now, we got another donation.
Yep.
All right, you got some time?
Yeah.
All right, so we got $10 from Counter Kitty saying, "Wonderful to see my favorite streamer running my least favorite game. Good luck, Gala. You got this." And we've got $20 from RZR360 saying, Gala Yokai Spain. I hope I pronounced that right. Fights with William till the end. Go Gala. Good luck on the run. You got this.
Thank you.
I hope I did you well on that pronunciation. I'm not really too good with, Japanese-inspired words. Thank you so much. That's $30 more for Save the Children.
So there are going to be 2 boss fights in this mission. The first one we're going to be using an item which is here, which is called the Moment Talisman. What a Moment Talisman allows you to do is for a moment, you can cast your Guardian Spirit to fight for you. And right now we have Kato the Wolf, so we're going to summon him into the next fight to do some fire damage for us on the boss who is coming up next. His name is Nioh. In Nioh, you could split the enemy types into 2 different types. One of them is yokai or monster enemies, and the other one is humanoid. Nioh is a yokai. All we do with the Star Wars card, weakness on him. I use Kato, the Fire Wolf, to do a fire debuff on him. Then using the Kasari, which I had put a water debuff on, I then proc a water debuff on him, which means he has 2 elemental debuffs on him. And when an enemy has 2 elemental debuffs, another debuff will trigger, which is called Confusion. Confusion is very powerful in Nioh, in that when an enemy is confused, they will not restore their key and they get staggered very easily and take a lot of damage. So that is very powerful and is going to be used a lot throughout the course of the run. Now this is just a running segment, so if there are any
I haven't had any donations since the 2, but
Yep.
you give more money to save the children if you can.
This place is always a bit of a maze. On the first playthrough, there's a lot of places to go and statues around. But thankfully, when you know where to go, it's pretty good. Because the whole point of going around here is to hit this one thing that I'll show you to open a door.
Unfortunately, I do regret to inform that your stream is still having problems. Are you able to reduce your bitrate further?
Yeah, I can do that. I'll do that right now.
We know it's definitely a
Alright,
bitrate issue because from time to time you go roboty in Discord, which is an indicator that you're stressing out your network.
Okay, I'll put it on 3000. But... I had it on 4500 before. Though I don't know how low would be better.
Just keep lowering it and resume whenever. But yeah, that's 4 people on the way. That's just a thing you just deal with in online productions. You know, there's always some sort of tech issue, and you just work around it, and you try to
Yeah.
produce an awesome show.
Let me know if it's okay or...
Looks to be a little bit more stable now, so that helped.
Okay, that's good. So coming up next is our first humanoid boss of Japan, whose name is Tachibana. For Tachibana's fight at the start, we want to shoot him in the head with a cannonball ammunition. He falls to the floor and we cast weakness. When he gets up again, we want to shoot him in the head once again. And from my inventory, I selected a heavy weapon so that we can knock him on the floor, and then we activate this mechanic which is called Living Weapon. Living Weapon is a power-up attack which is based upon which guardian spirit you have equipped. So right now we have Kato the dog, so we do like a fire living weapon. Living Weapon lasts for a duration of time. Your health bar and key bar become a timer instead when you have Living Weapon active. And during that period of time, you are immortal, but when you get hit by enemies, the timer will decrease. But that power-up attack is very useful for this speedrun, because William can become rather powerful with that activated. Now we're on to the next region of Japan. This is the Silver Mine Rivers. So we're in this silver mine that has lots of poison everywhere, and lots of enemies as well.
I can let you know that you reducing the bitrate actually did make the stream a little bit more stable, so it's definitely that. So if you have, like a cutscene or something where you can not lose time, then maybe give it another reduction, because we're still getting some minor stuttering, but it's definitely better now.
Okay.
But don't lose time on that.
Okay, no worries.
We're trying to go fast after all.
Okay. So there's a key item up here that I need to retrieve to go through a door to progress on floor, which is just here, so we just have to kill that skeleton, and then we get the central mine key, so we can go through here. I'm gonna be resting at this shrine and acquiring some more skills. As well as leveling up. Gonna be leveling up my spirit and magic to 10. Then we're gonna be acquiring the wind talisman, as well as acquiring a talisman which is called Kekai. Kekai, when used, allows your ki to regenerate a lot faster, which is going to be very useful for the next fight in particular. Because we're going to be wanting a lot of ki. And I'm also going to be equipping some more things for a fight after this one. From this corpse, there is another Hyotoko mask. I'll get to show that off, of what it does when it becomes relevant. So the boss that is coming up next is called Giant Centipede or Omukade, which is based off a real-life centipede called Mukade, which can grow up to 20 centimeters in length. So very big centipede that this boss is based off. And we're going to be using wind for this fight. So if I cast weakness on him, we block his first attack and just see what he's going to do. He's going to do that. Just get out of the way. And then we want to break up his body parts. He gets staggered on the floor. And now I just want to get the the wind debuff on him. With Living Weapon, we get the fire debuff on him because it is possible to cast your Guardian Spirit while Living Weapon is activated. Then he has the confusion debuff, he falls over, and it gives you an opportunity to really wail on him. Okay, let me do that real quick. There you go. Okay. My estimate is generous, so it's alright.
That's what we like to hear.
Okay. I just leveled up my health before this mission because there is an attack that the boss in this mission can do that when you have a bit more health you can tank and make the fight faster, so we're doing that for this chapter. So this is Fuku. She's gonna give me flint as well as a fire amulet. The flint we're gonna be using to light this burner to the side here. In this mission, there are 3 of these burners. He blocked my attack. That was not very nice of him. That is okay. He's just a pesky enemy who can snipe you while trying to get to the burner, so I wanted to kill him, but he blocked, which was something I don't usually get. But that is okay. Okay. There we go. No worries. So yeah, this burner here. There are 3 of these burners in the area because with the boss, there are 3 smaller enemies that spawn in, and lighting those burners means that less of those enemies will spawn in. 3 burners for 3 enemies. So I light one of them, so instead of 3, there will be 2. So if the boss does a very quick dive at the start, everything will be okay. So this is Umibozu, which when translated means sea monk. He also has the appearance of a bald monk. Because of his face, yeah, he did an instant dive. Not very nice. And for this boss fight, we want to use fire. That is his weakness. The Hyotoko mask, which I have been collecting from a few of the chapters up to now, it does this breathing with the fire. When he does a move where he lifts off his arm like that, you can get inside his armpit close to his body and do a lot of fire damage with that. That's okay. Let's do this. Okay. Reason why I go to the door when he goes into second phase after he is reduced below half health is because he will most likely do an attack with his arms and not jump. If you're on the other side of the arena, he usually does a jump. And when he's in the air, it's not easy to attack him. So, yeah. Your positioning can matter on what he decides to do in that fight. How is it looking now, the stream? I reduced it a bit more.
Oh, you know what would help? If I'm talking and I switch to push to talk, if I press the button. That would definitely help. That might have just happened, but yeah, stream's looking fine now.
Okay, that's good.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, I was just talking to myself there. But yeah, I have a good idea why the stream suddenly started having issues there after the runner swap, but it's very technical and I don't want to distract everyone
Okay,
with that.
no worries. So this is Spider Nest Castle, and as the name suggests for this mission, there are a lot of spiders everywhere, and there's lots of webs around. One of the techniques that I had unlocked while leveling was called Morning Moon for the sword, which is this move where he does like a flip. I think there's a skeleton coming after me. There's not. Okay. Just have to watch out for him. Sometimes enemies decide to follow you when you don't want them to. And what we do with this move, with the spiders, is if you go behind them and hit them from behind in their abdomen, they will lose all their ki or stamina, and they get staggered very easily. Because when an enemy is out of ki, yeah, they get staggered a lot. Now the reason why I'm getting this shrine is not really for safety, but because we are going to want to warp back to that shrine in just a bit. Up here to the left there is a castle, and in that castle is the boss. However, you need a key in order to access there, which is in this building. So we're going to have to go through here first, and then we're going to walk back to that shrine. In my inventory, I have these Horokudama, which are like bombs. Use those bombs to get rid of these smaller eggs. So that we can defeat the spider a lot faster. Because those smaller spiders in those eggs are really not nice and pesky. So, because one thing spiders can do is they can give you a slowness debuff if they spray on you. If they spit on you, I should say. They can give you a slowness, which is not very nice at all. So now we have the key. I walk back to the shrine, and now we're going to go up to the castle. Well, we're going to see the boss of this mission, who you might be able to guess is a giant spider. Her name is Joroguma. What did I say? The fire wheel here, when it comes down, I cling to the side of the wall so that he doesn't hit. I'm just going to buff up before the fight. Another skill that I got with the kasari gun is called Summer Twilight, where William does this raw, and it allows William to do more damage after getting that buff. So here's Joroguma. She is a big spider lady. Her abdomen is her weak point, so we want to try and get behind her, hit her abdomen. I did not reduce her ki enough. This is not good. Yeah, this is not good. So this is what this slowness debuff is not good. Thing with her is you want to reduce her ki enough, because you'll notice her blue bar is her ki bar. And you want it red before you go into living weapon. So that's not good. So Jorogumo, when translated, means entangling bride, but it can also be translated to horse fighter. Yeah. That's a little bit of trivia.
Who are you?
Not horse. Whore, like prostitute. Yeah. Very sexy spider. Nioh. Falling Snow. In this mission, we are going to be versing Yuki Onna. And Yuki Onna are snow women. Well, we're going to be versing one of them. And the Yuki Onna that we verse in Nioh is the lover of Oda Nobunaga. And we're going to be hearing her voice a bit throughout the course of this mission. We're going to be hearing her memories. She's very sad. So we're going to be hearing her. It's all ice and snow here. Now for this mission, we're going to be using the gun. To progress onward, you need to hit these butterflies. Because there are crystals in this mission that you cannot break and go through unless the butterflies are dead. So that crystal that I just broke there, you wouldn't be able to go through unless you hit the butterfly. And using the gun means that we can snipe the butterflies from a distance without having to run up to them, so that saves a little bit of time. This lady here is very aggressive sometimes. I bait out that skeleton before going to the ladder because if you go straight to the ladder, he will kill you. Straight away. This is the second set of butterflies. Oh. I was very lucky he didn't kill me. Yeah, she's very sad. She says, please don't leave me. Very sad, Yukiana. And this one other technique that I'm using for these crystals is called EI Strike. Or EI Quick Draw, sorry. Which you use with the sword. Which will become very important later on in the run. And whenever breaking these crystals drop spirit stones. The main currency of the game, well, the experience points of the game is called Amrita. In the bottom right hand corner, you'll notice there's like a little yellow kind of dust looking symbol with the number 42974. That is the Amrita number that we have. And you get living weapon when you use Amrita, which is going to be important. This skeleton is following me, which is rather problematic. That's okay. So this is Yuki Onna's boss door. Gonna be using Kekai for extra ki regenerating, using Summer Twilight so that we'll have extra attack. I use 2 spirit stones to fill up the meter so that we have living weapon ready. So this is Yuki Onna. Start of her fight, I cast weakness on her. She gave me the best move she can give me, which is the one that has the longest duration. And the reason why you want that move is to get behind her. You reduce her ki very low. So when you hit her now in living weapon, she staggers and you can do a lot of damage. And that's the end of her fight. Yuki Onna are in folklore as well, and there are some accounts in folklore where they can live happily with humans. Now this is the Demon of Mount Hiei. This mission. So if there's anything you'd like to say about the charity or donations, this is a good time. Because I'm just going to be doing a lot of running here.
Absolutely. So we're raising money here for Save the Children, which is an organization that helps, children, to stop dying from easily preventable causes. So the mission statement is making sure that every child has an education, every like no child should be a victim of violence. And they've been working for over 100 years and in 120 countries. So they're a worldwide organization. Every dollar helps. And they actually do have some donation like previously they ran the math on how much even just a single dollar can affect poor children and helping them. And $1 alone, if you just donate $1, that can save 4 children already. And if you donate $10, that can feed 1 child for 10 days. So think about it. It's a really awesome charity. They work, as I said, they work in so many countries. They work worldwide. They work really efficiently. And because of our charity, their 501 statements are public. And speaking of that, because they're a registered 501c charity, your donations are tax deductible. And your employer might match them too. So go get your donations in for Save the Children. It's an awesome cause.
Awesome. So this is White Tiger. Something about yokai enemies in the game is that often a glowy part of their body is a weak spot. So for White Tiger, because his eye is glowing, we use the Reaper technique on his eye, and he gets staggered when you hit. You can take him out very fast. Like that. Some bosses in this game for the speedrun, they often get melted very fast because magic in this game is, pretty powerful. When you have weakness and then an elemental debuff and then, very powerful stuff. Gonna be leveling up my magic, and we're gonna be getting another elemental talisman, which is Earth, which we're gonna be using for a boss later. We're also getting the Guardian Spirit talisman. I'm getting a skill called Sign of the Cross for the dual swords, which will be useful for a boss a lot later. And I'm just equipping them in my quick slot. And we're going now to the next region of Japan. So this is Eager Escape. Eager Escape is a pretty problematic part of the speedrun because there are very aggressive enemies in this mission, such as ninjas, as well as more spiders. The ninjas in particular are very agile and can do a lot of damage. So dying here is very common, but that's okay. I'll be using some spirit stones to fill up my meter because we're going to be needing that a bit later. Also in this mission, there are these turning doors. I block when going through the door so that, oh dear. Is what I mean. Sometimes, yeah. He didn't let me go up the ladder this time. Yeah, no one escapes, Eager Escape. This is a bit of a problem because when you die, your guardian spirit goes on the floor. However, I don't want to spend too much time in front of the... Oh dear. Okay, this is okay. Good. Sometimes the enemies are very passive or aggressive. Sometimes I don't want to let you pass. We just gotta go. Now when I'm going through here, I'm gonna be equipping the Nioh Mage's hat. And by equipping that, my casting speed can be faster. However, I need to level up my skill a little bit more. So I'm gonna do that when I get back to the shrine. I'm gonna be opening this door for a shortcut. And I have enough to level up, good. Because you need 10 skill. When you have 10 skill with this hat on, I'm pretty sure you need some magic as well. William's casting speed while wearing this hat can be very fast, which is very good for casting this Guardian Spirit. As you can tell, it comes out very faster. Very good for tripping over the ninjas, as well as also like before fights, buffing everything up. Takes a lot less time. Now this part of the mission is It's a bit of a doozy. There are a lot of spiders underneath here, and like I have to walk on these planks of wood, which can be hard to walk on. Yep. And I activate living weapon here, not in an offensive way, but more in a defensive way, so that I can stagger that ninja back so that he doesn't follow me. And I cast, because the Guardian Spirit Talisman can go through walls, there is something behind that wall that I need to hit to transition the area to progress forward. I bait that enemy out so I can get to this door. And we'll open this as well. A little shortcut. And the next boss that we're going to be fighting is a giant toad. Giant toad. And if you've played Nioh 2, you might know who this boss is. Start of his fight, he will most likely do a jump like that, yes. Cast weakness on him, and I want to get behind him, and I'm going to use the Reaper technique with the kasari. When you are behind him, he does like this little turning animation, and then he will do a jump to restore his ki again. I was a bit too forward, because what can happen... Hopefully he will jump. What can happen if you are too close to an enemy when they restore their ki? Right now, William is standing what is called a ki pool, or the Dark Realm kind of ki pool, and when enemies are in their ki pool, they restore their ki a lot faster, and when they're out of ki, or when like the toad did his jump, he will restore his ki or create a ki pool for himself. And if you are too close when that happens, you will lose all of your ki. So it's kind of like a punishment for being too close to them at times. Yeah. So I lost all my ki there, but the fight still went okay. So this is Memories of Death Lilies. This is the chapter I'm going to be using the Earth Talisman on the boss who is here. This is like a little foresty area with lots of flowers around. There's the little mini Umi bosses in the water. And the wheel monk as well. We just bypass them. Don't have to bother them. And I wait, yeah, when there's like a ki pool where the enemy will come out of the realm, the Dark Realm, you just have to wait a little bit, otherwise you get staggered and have to wait for William to catch his breath. So it's faster just to hold off a little bit and then go. Because that's the one thing about this game, is that being reckless can often get you punished as well, even though you want to be fast and you want to be aggressive. But it's all about being smart about it. Now there, I hit that guy with the Guardian Talisman in the head so that he gets staggered over and I can take what was from that corpse, which is, there was a Sacred Brush. Sacred Brushes allow you to replenish your magic even if you're not at a shrine. And we're going to need that for something a bit later. When I'm going through this door, I'm going to be going to my inventory and equipping a better kasari. You get one as a reward from the previous chapter, so we're going to be using that. Buffing him up, using water. Just wait for a slight moment when this skeleton comes out. And now this is Ogress. Cast weakness on Ogress, and we're going to be using the confusion debuff on her. So I'm going to be using low stance low with the kasari. Her hitbox is huge, and I was up against the wall when she jumped. That's okay. So I'm going to be using the water talisman on kasari, and then we're also going to be using the earth talisman that I got. I'm going to be using both of them on her. One thing about Ogress, which is rather unkind, is that sometimes she is very passive or very aggressive. Or she jumps a lot. So now that I have the Earth debuff on her, she gets another debuff, which is Confusion. You'll always see the debuffs on the right-hand side of their health bar. You can see them proc, and then once the debuff is full, it means, yeah, they have the debuff on them. Now at this point in the speedrun, we have mainly been versing yokai or monster bosses, but now at this point in the run, from onwards, we're going to be versing a lot of humanoid bosses, and we have some different strategies that we use for them. Yeah. Because one of the skills that we got was called EI Quick Draw with the sword, and that skill is going to be very helpful for making the fights fast. Now there's just going to be a lot of loading screens here, so if there's anything more you want to say about the marathon, charity, or donations, you're most welcome to.
I think we've plugged Save the Children a lot, but
Okay.
do want to say that Valuethon, it's been an awesome marathon. Just want to say that first of all, you know, they host many different events from time to time. So if you do want to stay updated on all the news with Valuethon, then you can join the Discord. I'm not sure if there's actually a command for us. I'll just try it, you know. Can't hurt to try. I'll just see. Oh, there it is. There it is. Join that Discord. And just stay updated on all of our event news.
Nice. Yeah, Valuethon was my first marathon that I ever was at. A year ago, I was at Valuethon. That was my first marathon. I was very nervous. I did Bayonetta 1. But yeah, Valuethon is a really good marathon. It's very chill and
Yeah.
Relaxing. Everyone's very lovely. Yeah. So in this next chapter, there are 2 humanoid bosses. The first one is a little bit of a gimmick, but the second boss in particular, we start to use a very interesting strategy. So this is Edo Castle. This water here is very putrid. William gets a debuff, which makes him vomit, actually, if he has that debuff on for too long. So there are these water buckets around that we're going to be running him into so that he gets a water debuff. Not debuff, he gets a water buff, I should say, since it's not a bad buff. And it allows him to run through the water without allows him to run through the smelly water without vomiting, because that's something that he will do. He'll stop and he can't take the smell, he has to vomit. Or gag, I should say. Now going through this door, I'm going to be equipping the bow, which is going to be very important a bit later. I'm going to be buffing him up here. Kekkai, Summer Twilight, so that he gets extra attack. Now we're just going to be running to the first boss of this mission. His name is Honda. Honda is a humanoid boss, but for his fight, he has these purple crystals in his fight. And you can verse him normally, or you could just decide to attack the crystals and it gets rid of him. Each of these crystals drops Spirit Stones, and Spirit Stones are a very good resource for the speedrun, so I want to pick them up where I can. One thing Honda can do is he can decide to throw rocks at you. Thankfully he didn't do that though, he just kind of stared at me while I was breaking the crystals. But sometimes even after you kill him, he can throw a rock, so I just have to keep an eye out for that. A lot of warriors coming through here. This door in particular, I have to make sure I hold down block just in case if they're aggressive, because sometimes they can decide to be. And we're just going up here as fast as we can. So on that, to the left there, that door there is where the next boss is going to be. And her name is Okatsu. She's like a ninja. There's something special we do for her fight. We're not going to be using the kasari gama for her fight, but instead we are going to be using the sword. Let's go use Kekkai, Summer Twilight, Then we're going to buff the sword with water. And I'm going to be using the bow. At the start of her fight when she runs at you, I want to position the bow in such a way that I can hit her upper body or her head. She falls on the floor. And now... using this skill called EI Quick Draw, we can do that skill in such a way that we can keep her stun locked and unable to get up once she is on the floor. One thing that we do of why we have the bow on is because when you go into the bow view, William will sheath his weapon straight away. To do that move, you need to sheath your weapon, and if you do it without going into the bow view, the animation of sheathing is very slow, so she gets time enough to get up. However, if you go into the bow view quick enough, William will put his weapon away fast, and then you can do the move again. Because to do the EI quick draw move, yeah, William's weapon has to be sheathed. So that way we can do that move in quick succession after each other and keep her from getting up off the floor. As well as other humanoid enemies which are going to be coming up. The next boss in particular we use this technique on, however he is a bit more finicky in that his animation of getting up is very fast, so you have to quick draw in such a way that you do it without delay. Because if you take too long, he will get up very fast. So one thing about speedrunning Nioh is that it's very good to know what to do when fights go wrong. So if like things don't go exactly your way, how you can manage how you can manage the fight in such a way though that it's still relatively fast. So it's, yeah, having a bit of game knowledge is good with running this game. So this is Fushimi Castle. There is a lot of fire everywhere. And there is a bit of a little shortcut here. You can use the Guardian Spirit Talisman to go through the wall. Hopefully I can get this. There we go, awesome. Because usually you hit it from the other side of the wall, however, because the Guardian Spirit can do damage through walls, it hits the other side of the wall and then it creates a little shortcut, so you can go through there without having to go around. That's a rather nice little thing to do. There's a lot of guys with guns here, so you have to be watching out for gunfire. Also a lot of fire on the floor. One thing I'm doing is hitting these buckets so that William has a water buff, because when he does, instead of taking health damage, it will just do damage to that buff, and it will, yeah, not last as long. So having the water on William's body helps him to go through the fire without dying, which is very good. We hit through it here because there's another patch of fire here that I'm going to want to be dashing through. I also hold down block when going through this door because, yeah, they have a lot of guns as well as bombs they can throw at you too. Enemies in this mission have a lot of firearms, so you have to watch out. So yeah, whenever I'm going through a door, I'm always holding down the block button, because you don't actually have iframes when going through a door, but you can block things coming out of the door, so that's just a good thing to take note. Now this is Saika Magalichi. Start of his fight, he'll want to shoot at you. So I didn't dodge the shot. Okay. That's okay. We'll do that again. You dodge the shot and then you can trip him when he lowers to the floor. His shot though is very fast to dodge, so you have to be really on the ball with it. Just go through here. Thankfully the doors are like, they don't close again once you've opened them, so that's good. Dukekai, Summer Twilight, water on the sword. We go into his fight. And I didn't dodge again. Okay. However, because he does this move... Oh god. I said however, but I did not take advantage of it. When he's in the air, like this, you can trip him over. Yeah, Psyker is probably one of the hardest fights on this speed run because he is very fast. When he's in an animation where he's in the air, it is possible to trip him over again. So if he does the grab, there is a move which he does where he tries to grab you if you're close enough to him. That's okay. Don't like him in this corner. He also can teleport, which I'm kind of hoping he will do, but I don't think he will do. Don't like him in that corner. He's not in a good spot. Yeah. Hopefully this time I'll get to try and trip him over. How you do? Just have to remember that the cutscene doesn't play. I'm so used to skipping the cutscene when it plays at the start. Buff up again. Do all this again. Lock on, dash. Hit him. Go behind him, weakness. And then you can kill him like that. So yeah, that is the fight that I wanted to show. So even after all that, I'm glad that I got to show it off because he is a bit. So doing his fight like that is rather rewarding to do. Even though I didn't have my Guardian Spirit on, but it's okay. Glad I could still show it off. So now we got the spirit, which is Suzaku. After you defeat bosses in the game, you usually get a Guardian Spirit afterwards. And that Guardian Spirit we're going to be using a bit later in the run. It's a rather nice spirit to use for some things. So now, if you know much about Japanese history, you'll know of the War of Sekigahara, which is what this chapter is based around, where Japan was split into two. So this is going to be a bit of a battlefield with lots of corpses around, and there's going to be two bosses in this mission. One of them is kind of more yokai than humanoid. It's kind of a bit of both. And then the second boss is a humanoid boss. Which we'll get to see. Just to make sure that I don't forget, I'm going to be using that there. Yeah, lots of corpses around and soldiers. A lot of armor. Cool. And then William comes in almost completely naked. Our speedrunner. And I picked up that kasari from that corpse because that kasari is very good. So we're going to be using that for the boss coming up. His name is Otani. Kekai, Summer Twilight. And then we go into his fight. So he is a yokai humanoid boss which has the properties of a moth. Our objective is to get him into this corner, which he's not doing. Like so. You can pin him in the corner by activating Living Weapon, and then I use the Reaper technique and you can get rid of him very fast. It is also possible to get an animation stagger on him, but that is very precise. But yeah, so that was Otani. Otani, you'll notice in his design in the game, he had this like white mask over his face. That is typical attire for people who have leprosy. And historically, Otani did have leprosy, and he historically died at the Battle of Sekigahara. So, making our speedrun historically accurate. So that's cool. Now this guy here has a very long odachi who can kill you while going past, but thankfully he didn't, so that's good. So the next boss, his name is Shimasai-kan. Gonna be using a very similar strategy to Otani. Not Otani. We use a very similar strategy to what we used on Okatsu and Saiken. So we buff William up, aim with the bow, shoot him in the head. He falls over, cast weakness on him while he's on the floor. And his animation of getting up is very slow. So it is possible if you go too fast when an enemy is on the floor and they're not in their getting up animation, they can just get up straight away if their animation is not what it should be. So for him, you have to make sure you don't do it too fast. Yeah. He's a slow boy. So he's very good to practice that technique on for new runners. Now before we go into the next mission, I'm gonna be leveling up my spirit. And from Shinra's fight, we got a guardian spirit which was called karadushi. Karadushi increases your attack of your skills. And it's gonna be very good damage-wise. For the rest of the run, we're mainly gonna be using karadushi. Especially for this chapter. This chapter, we are gonna be versing Gasha Dokoro. Gasha Dokoro, when translated, means rattling skull. And Gasha Dokoro is a big skeleton, skeletal giant. So we're going to be seeing him in this mission. And they're very commonly found on battlegrounds because of all the decay. Now I'm going to be using some spirit stones. So we have living weapon filled. Very good. Now we're going to be heading towards Gasha Dokoro's boss fight. He is in the middle of this mission. Usually you like travel around before you get to him, but it is possible to fall into his fight from this side. You can actually just fall down here. And the reason why we fall down here in the speedrun is because he is facing the other way, he will want to turn around. And being on this side, he will want to do attack moves which give us good access to his feet. Because the objective of his fight is you break his feet and then you go to the top and do damage to him once he trips over. You do that usually with both of his feet. However, you can one cycle him with only one foot. So cast weakness on him, get living weapon, and now we're going to be using the Reaper skill while living weapon is activated, and we're going to be chipping off his health. Like so. And that's all his health gone. And one thing that I've been doing throughout the course of the run is whenever we are transitioning out of a mission to go to the loading screen, you can actually go into the menu and check out your inventory as well as other things that you have equipped. And because there are drops in this game, bit of RNG drops, I look into my menu because I want to see if I have any better equipment to equip to use for the next missions coming along, because equipment can be very important with how your damage comes out. So yeah, just do that each time, make sure I keep up to level with the enemies in the areas. It can be a little bit rough early with what drops you get, but usually at this point the drops are pretty alright. Now this is the Defiled Holy Mountain. There is a pretty big running segment for this part, so if there's anything you want to say or donations that come in, this is a perfect opportunity for it, because yeah, there's quite a bit of running around before we get to the boss fight. Yeah. Okay.
We haven't gotten any additional donations since the last one, but do give your money. If you have any, save the children's an awesome charity.
Awesome. Except for here, I'm just going to be using Kekai so that I can dash a lot more, as the key will regenerate faster. And yeah, just trying to move through here as much as I can without getting interrupted by enemies or falling off the cliff, because that can happen. Wait for him to spawn in because his key pool can interrupt you. Oh, get rid of all your key. One enemy that you don't really see that much on the speedrun is the Tengu, and they're pretty notorious when playing casually. They're very mean. Very mean enemies, but thankfully you don't have to deal with them too much in the run. Just being careful around those enemies. Also with movement in the game, like I have to be careful with how much ki I use when dashing. I have to be a little bit conscious of that. Yeah, the Tengus are mean. Tengu beds are very mean. Yeah, their design is cool, yeah. So the boss... Ooh! I fell down. That is okay. Thankfully that doesn't result in a death. But it's possible to fall down there. The boss that is coming up is Ishida Mitsunari, who was the one who lost the Sekigahara War. So, as the loser that he is, we are gonna defeat him. Hopefully. Now, at the start of his fight, he will always do this one move. So we cast weakness on him, and we travel behind him to get behind his back. His tail is glowing, so it's like a weak point. You also do a lot of damage to enemies from behind, and he dies very fast. So he just kind of shreds. Gets shredded. Cause yeah, glowing points on yokai enemies often a weak spot. His tail glows. So, yeah, and getting behind enemies is big damage. So very good. Now this is the Samurai of Sawayama. There are actually 2 war clips in this chapter, so I'll get to show them off. Yeah. Vulnerable from behind. They are vulnerable from behind. So the wall clips will be coming up. Just have to go through here. The first one is fairly easy to perform. You just dash in such a way near this wall and you can just go straight through it. Very simple. But the second one is a little bit more precise because you have to be up in between where the door and the wall is. There's also enemies around that can be rather mean, so I have to bait them out before doing it. There we go, thankfully I got it. So those clips are good because it means I don't have to go through, I don't have to deal with the enemies, and I also don't have to do the animation of opening up the door. So, yeah, very good. Little clips there. Also, another thing about this mission is that there isn't really a safety harness. If you die, you have to run through the whole mission each time. So hopefully we will be okay. You just have to go through the mission and do the boss. Now there is a boulder that is going to be coming down here. If you run against the wall in such a way, you can actually avoid getting squashed by the boulder. Usually you wait for it to calm down and then go, but it is possible to squeeze William past it against the wall. Now this blue enemy here, yeah, he did nothing. That's not very kind. I also aggravated the wheel monk, which doesn't always happen, but sometimes it can. So that's a little bit random, which is upsetting. I saw him and I was like, oh dear. You have to bait those enemies to attack out, because if you go straight to the door, they will kill you. They'll just kill you while you're going through the door. So you have to sometimes bait enemies out before going forward. You lose more time if you don't. We'll get to do the wall clips again. Cause yeah. Oh god. Okay, that's fine. It's also possible to get stuck in that wall. I've had that happen before. William getting squished in the wall. Very sad. Because yeah, there are a lot of points, like especially in this mission, where you can die. Like you can get killed by that cannon go, you can get killed going through the wall clips, you can get killed here by the boulder or the enemies if they decide to attack you while going past. Because they can put you in an animation where William can get hit by the boulder when going past. It's not very nice. Now let's go around. I'm gonna bait him again, though he seems okay, but let's do that. So the boss fight coming up is Obsidian Samurai. So is fire class weakness on him. I do enough attacks with the Kasarigama so that he gets the water debuff on him, go behind him, use the Reaper technique with the Kasarigama, and he dies very fast. Because we put him at a threshold where he wants to do like a roar and go to the next part of his fight, but we can kill him during that animation. Now before we go into the next mission, which is actually the final mission of any percent, we're gonna make some offerings. I'm gonna double check that I have order by type. Very good. Do that one. Okay, we'll do that. Do an offering so that I have more spirit stones as well as a little bit to level up a bit more. And I'm going to be changing my guardian spirit from karadushi to suzaku, which was the guardian spirit that we got from defeating Psycho Megalichi. The guardian spirit that you get from him, you can summon it while living weapon is activated, and it does a very big area of effects. The bird flies around and can hit multiple enemies, which is going to be important for this one part in this mission, as there's going to be a lot of enemies in front of this door that spawn in front of this door, waves of enemies, and using that bird summon can help get rid of them fast. Also for this mission, you have two NPCs who help you out. Hanzo as well as Okatsu, whom we versed a bit before. That is, again, being too eager and getting hit by the key pull of an enemy. There's also these foxes in this mission, which are very, very agile and aggressive when they want to be. Foxes are not very nice. here so that he's going. And I want this marksman to hit me in the back so that he sets up critical HP. I'm hoping he will do it in one shot. No, that's not enough. Okay. Okay, hold on. Okay. I want him to set up critical HP because when you have critical HP, when you have critical health that is glowing red like that, your living weapon will last longer. And that's going to be very helpful for the enemies in front of this door. We kill him, buff up. Now I'm going to be activating living weapon in between these enemies and hopefully I can, yep, make him fall down. Just deal with him straight away. We can summon Suzaku the bird. Suzaku is very good at depleting their ki. I want to kill them in an efficient amount of time so that... Because what happens when you kill enemies is that your meter fills up more. I say that and I might lose my meter. Oh. Because enemies drop Amrita when they die. Amrita comes out of their bodies. Amrita is what fills up the living weapon meter, so we can keep it active longer. A little bit careful running here. My eyes sometimes play tricks on me with the lights in this mission. In front of us there is an elevator, but in order to gain access to that elevator to progress onward, we need to defeat some mini-bosses. These mini-bosses are bosses that we have previously seen throughout the course of the game. I need to bait him out before going to this door. Oh. Very aggressive enemy, that one in particular. So the first one we're going to be versing is Nioh. Nioh we versed very early on in the game. Bit of a boss rush. I cast weakness on him. Cast the guardian spirit on him. The guardian spirit gives him a fire debuff. We have water on the kasari, confusion, and he dies. And we pick up the drops. He drops some blue swords, which is good. So the next boss is Onryoki. Onryoki was the first boss that we versed in Japan. We'll be seeing him again. Cast weakness. Get Suzaku out. I use high stance high and he dies very fast. And now we use the travel amulet, so instead of having to run all the way back, we just zipped right back to the shrine. And in this chest there's a sacred brush. Gonna be important for a fight later, so I wanted to collect that. This skeleton may... Okay, he was okay. Close call, but it was okay. Now this mini-boss is Joraguma. We're gonna be seeing him. Cast weakness. Guardian spirit. Wanna get behind her. Can put confusion on her when she dies. And I wanted to save living weapon for the next mini boss in this area, who is gonna be Hino Enmo. So we're gonna be using living weapon for her. Summer Twilight so that William has more attack. Weakness. Behind her, activate living weapon behind her, she falls down. Then we use the Reaper technique while living weapon is activated. We can get rid of her health. Then we go back to the shrine. And now we gain access to the elevator. Awesome. So now we're going to be versing the big boss of this. One of the bigger bosses in this area. While I'm on this elevator, I want to check out my inventory and I want to be equipping the sacred brushes. That's what I gonna want for a bit later. So the fight coming up is Oda Nobunaga, who is a very historical figure. And we'll see what William does with this fight. Because Oda Nobunaga is a humanoid boss, we hit him in the face with the bow. And we use the EI quick draw skill. His getting up animation is rather slow too, so... He's good. Now with all the amateur that I have, I just put it in spirit. I'll be changing to karadushi, because karadushi can be very useful for attack. Now for this fight, we're going to be versing the main antagonist of Nioh. His name is Kelly. Played with Kelly. And I'm going to be wanting to use the dual swords because that is what I feel most comfortable with. I got some nice drops from the mini bosses, which is nice. So this is Kelly. I want to use this skill, which is called Sign of the Cross, which is for the dual swords. I want to get away because that has huge hitbox. The objective is to get rid of his key and then, yeah, wail on him. Now, right after his fight, we have Yamato no Orochi, which when translated means 8-branched serpent, or is it 7-branched serpent? And yeah, just have to look out for his attacks. And then when he does attacks where his body is close, we get closer. We're not going to also be using the bow anymore, so sometimes they have just a little tick of health left and you can pick it up with the bow. Now there's going to be a little bit of time before the next one starts to spawn in, so I just take this moment to buff William up. And this is the fight where we use the sacred brushes. They become very handy for this fight. Because weakness, one of the talismans that we have that makes enemies weaker, is very useful for this fight when it's cast on them. So we're going to be wanting to do that as soon as these multicolored ones start to pop up in the fight. Because, yeah, whenever I use a sacred brush, my magic will replenish. Oh, I just changed to that one. My bad. I didn't realize I changed to... Changed to dual swords back again. And each time you defeat one of them, you will get an elemental debuff on your weapon, according to like the color of the serpent. So I just defeated one that was green, so now I have a wind debuff on my weapon. Just defeated one that's blue, so now I have water debuff. I'm gonna be casting lots of weakness, and I want to keep an eye out for the ones that are up ahead, because they can cast bombs, and these bombs, they can cause havoc and do a lot of damage. And the moves where their body is pressed up against the roof are very important to take note of. Those are the bites, as well as when they breathe fire, like the fire one is doing right now. Oh dear, yeah, and like the earth one and the lightning one, when they cast bombs, there's like an after effect. And yeah, it's very deadly stuff. I kill you. And after you defeat the second last one, the final one will have a transformation. I'm gonna stand, if you stand in this spot, you can hit him when he approaches. I changed my dual swords to just a sword so that for the next little part I can dash through. So was Yamato no Orochi. So yeah, that one can be a bit messy because there's so many elemental snakes. If you get hit by multiple of them, you can have confusion on yourself. And yeah, that can cause a lot of havoc. Now, after William interacts with this body, he is now going to be going back to London. So he's done everything in Japan that he wanted to do. He saved his guardian spirit, which was his, that he lost at the start of the game. And now he's going to go back to England because there is another baddie in England and he needs to show him what's up. So we're going to go do that. He needs to go back to the Tower of London. Oh, hold on. Didn't mean to go to the shrine. I meant to go to the blacksmith. You don't really go to the blacksmith that much, but I'm actually just going to go to buy some handgun ammunition. Because we're going to be needing cannon ammunition for this final mission. So yeah, now he's back in the Tower of London. So this was the first mission that we were on, right at the beginning, when William was running around. A little bit of deja vu. And at the start, I want to be using one large soulstone, and we're going to be using living weapon defensively at this door. Because there are a lot of enemies at this doorway that you typically would want to deal with before going through the door, as you don't have iframes. However, when you have living weapon activated, like I had said previously, William is invincible for a small period of time. So he can go through this door even if he gets hit. And then, yeah, progress on forward. So that makes that very fast. Because if you just go without doing that, the enemies just kill you. So it makes you able to tank some hits so you can keep progressing onward. Let me just go up. So we're basically doing this chapter in reverse from when we did it at the start. I'll go through here. Just gonna equip the better equipment that I had got from the previous mission. Just gonna be buffing up just in case if things go wrong. Oh, I also need to make sure I have the right handgun because we're gonna be using that right here. Before we can make it through that big door, we have to defeat these Kellys that come out of these chest tubes. These clones. I did not aim at his head. Okay. That is okay. Very good, I got those extra cannon ammunitions. Okay, good. So you want to shoot them in the head and they get one shot, and you get the alchemist laboratory key and you can go through. Before go, they buff up. There are also enemies chasing behind me, so it's very important to make sure that I don't spend too long. And now this is 100 eyes, or hyakume, which are pink, lumpy, flesh yokai. Now this move hones on you, so I need to make sure I'm running. So I do damage to him and then activate living weapon, you can get rid of him very fast. So the timer is coming up very soon. When we go on this black screen, that will be time. Which will be 3, 2, 1, time. So that was Nioh all main missions vanilla. William went back to England and defeated the big baddie. And after this, he actually goes back to Japan, but that is for the DLC, so you'll have to check that out yourself. As we see here, he touches this sphere,
And now you see
and he
nothing
sees
more.
what's happening back in Japan. He's like, oh no. Oh no, what's happening here? There's Hanzo, and he says he's gotta go back to Japan. Thank you all for the GGs. And there's his guardian spirit. So now we see in just a bit he'll be on a boat going back to Japan. So I want to thank everyone who came and watched my run today. If you're interested in Nioh speedrunning, you're most welcome to join the Nioh speedrunning Discord. You can find it attached to the Nioh leaderboard on speedrun.com. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed my runs today, and I hope you will all enjoy the rest of the marathon. Thank you very much for watching.